multiplication tables. If it's a hobby and you like it, sure, go ahead and do it, but it's no longer a necessity. Similarly,
Right.
spreadsheets were invented, you no longer had to do accounting by hand, and so on and so forth. Once AI is there, there's a lot of mundane things that get taken away. And you can use your creative side as well. But yeah, there's always two sides to any new technology that comes.
Exactly. Exactly. So I think the way that you had put through, right, Aya. So this is the generation that grew up entirely with internet. But the main reason why we are looking at the problem that is coming in, I think, is the over reliance on the technology that is not yet there with all the ethical values or with all the guardrails that is supposed to be there. I mean, like, it's still developing, and we need to be the people who need to build it, secure it. But I think before that, there's an over reliance by the Gen Z. In fact, I'm going to be showing every one of us a small video, which is a news report that is there, where Gen Z prefer marrying AI over human beings. I mean, like, yeah, it sounds crazy to hear, but then that is a reality out there. So this is from First Post, a news that is there. Let's have a quick look at it.
There was a time when people called a friend for advice, or maybe even their parents. Then came Google. You could type your problems into a search bar. It was not perfect, but at least you still had to think. Now, Gen Z has gone one step further. They ask a chatbot everything. Should they dump their partner? Should they dye their hair? Should they take the new job? Should they move cities? Every single thing. Gen Z is not just using ChatGPT or any other AI bot, they are texting it like it was the last human on Earth. And OpenAI CEO Sam Altman agrees. He says Gen Z consults ChatGPT for everything, even life-changing decisions. Gen Z uses ChatGPT heavily for things like brainstorming, planning, even to talk through ideas. Around 80% employ it for work-related tasks, 66% use it for ideation. Many turn to it for help with tough work and personal decisions. Some even use it to write their breakup texts. Because nothing says closure like a bullet point list from a robot. And it shows in the numbers. Look at this study. It says 70% of Gen Z have AI companions. 70% of them. They talk to them for emotional support. 31% of them say that these conversations are very satisfying, more satisfying than talking to a human. And unlike a human friend, your AI will never tell you that it's too busy. In fact, here's another study. It says 75% of Gen Z believes AI partners could replace human relationship and human companionship. 75%. Some of them even want AI relationships. That's a relationship with an AI bot. 80% of Gen Z users would marry an AI bot. I can see the appeal. No one will tell you to calm down during an argument. And if they do, you can just program them or reprogram them to stop. But here's the big red flag. AI cannot replace real-world relationships because real relationships are messy. Sometimes friends cancel plans, sometimes they take 45 minutes to reply, sometimes they hate your clothes. But the AI friends are always online, they're never bored, and they do not screenshot your rants. Plus, you can build them with exactly the traits you like. It sounds lovely until you realize that they cannot actually show up to bail you out when you're in trouble. Let's be honest, if your car breaks down at midnight, no chatbot is driving over to help you. At best, it will send you a very encouraging haiku. And that's the problem. It's comforting until you realize growth happens when someone tells you no. Without that friction, you're not learning how to navigate real human disagreement. You're just outsourcing it. And if we outsource enough of our lives, soon we'll forget how to do the living part ourselves. Also, it's easy to shrug this off. After all, AI companions are not inherently bad. They can help with loneliness. They can boost confidence. They can even teach social cues to people who struggle with them. The problem is not using them. The problem is forgetting that they're not human. So here's some advice for Gen Z. Use artificial intelligence by all means. It is clearly the future. But stop building emotional dependence on something that is endlessly available. It may seem like a great prospect, but wait till your server goes down. Your BFF Jamie is only buffering. Let's get a little reality check. Real friends forget your birthday, real partners argue with you, and real life is awkward and unpredictable. Sometimes it's amazing, sometimes it's a dumpster fire. But at least it's real, and you cannot control Z it.
So I think that video kind of really put things into perspective to say why the Gen Z is becoming more and more dependent, and then how like the common mass of the Gen Z that is there is oblivious of what dangers they are actually entering into. And the common mass does not know, and rather they are actually building emotional attachment and expertise. In fact, there are various reports. So I'm going to welcome Premasrupa Maharaj to share about this particular thing, where the CEO of OpenAI, so he shares his fears about the dangers of the AI that he has created. So, which is OpenAI, ChatGPT, which is world's #1 most used AI that is there. So he actually speaks about this. Maybe Premasrupa Maharaj, if you could give a quick glimpse into it, then we can listen to what Sam Altman has to say about the dangers of AI.
Yes, thank you, Maharaj. So Sam Altman, who is the CEO of ChatGPT, one of the most biggest AIs in the world, he also has a lot of fears about AI and the future of how AI is going to take a very different direction. Even he doesn't know the thing that he himself has created, he and his team have created. They don't know what actually is the direction which the AI would end up in, maybe let's say 1 year or 2 years or even 5 years. So it's very uncertain, is what he says when multiple interviews I watched of his, every interview he says he doesn't know. So also we have a video here that that he's sharing about that. Yes, Maharaj, we can just listen to it from himself.
Totally. I don't think we know quite how that's going to feel. You just have to like approach it step by step. Another thing I'm afraid of, and we had a real problem with this earlier, but it can get much worse, is just what this is going to mean for users' mental health. There's a lot of people that talk to ChatGPT all day long. There are these sort of new AI companions that people talk to like they would a girlfriend or a boyfriend. And we were talking earlier about how it's probably not been good for kids to like grow up like on the dopamine hit of scrolling,
yeah,
TikTok
for sure,
or whatever.
Yeah, do you think that how do you keep like AI from having that same effect, like that negative effect that social media really has had?
I'm scared of that. I don't have an answer yet. I don't think we know quite the ways in which it's going to have those negative impacts. But I feel for sure it's going to have some, and I hope we can learn to mitigate it quickly.
Can AIs, can they pull up pornography and stuff like that too, or no?
Sure.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
So I think that is what we are looking at. And the creators, right, the team who worked on it, they themselves have no solutions. And that is the truth here. Now, the thing here is that we have crossed the threshold of ethics. We've crossed the threshold of safety. Right now, world is at a position where the competition is who creates the most advanced AI, who creates the AI with more number of features, who leads the industry. So the conversation or the dialogue is not about ethics, is not about safety. No, it's not about any of that. We have already moved past it, and now we are going to bear the brunt of it. That is just what it is. So the problems that we are looking at currently is hallucinations, misinformation, ethical voids, and fundamentally the approach that any AI, whether you take ChatGPT, whether you take DeepSeek, whether you take Meta, any OpenAI or any AI bot that is there, is that fundamentally they have been developed from a materialistic perspective, which means that it is continuously trained and programmed to please the user. I think that fundamentally is the reason why this whole model is going to fail. And some of the basic training model, I actually had recently come about a report to say, why are AI the way they are and why are they hallucinating? So one of the reports, it was from OpenAI. So they had published the papers recently. So they mentioned how the AI is programmed. Now, for example, we need to look at this like a multiple choice question. So fundamentally, they are the way all the AIs are programmed is to please and satisfy the user, right? Now, when a multiple choice question is given, you don't know the answer for something. There are two ways of handling it. One, leaving it. Two is making a best guess, right? Now, what an AI does is that because it is fundamentally created to satisfy the users, it's going to take its best guess. And that is the issue. It is going to be giving you wrong answers because it is fundamentally programmed to do so. It is inherently programmed to do so. This is something, surely not something that we are only discovering today. This is something that we know right at the beginning, but we did not bother about it. And today, the world is already into it. This has led into various levels of issues. I'm going to invite Mangala Maharaj here once again to share about some of the really scary aspects of AI and real world implications that it has had. There are many use cases that we have put out here. So probably you could summarize it, Maharaj, for every one of us and we could see it.
Yes, Maharaj. So the case which we are seeing here specifically is this actually happened very recently, a couple of months ago, where this teenager, Adam Rain, on the outside, from seeing the various interviews and articles written about this particular incident, from his parents and talking to his people, his friends, his teachers, and everyone who lived in his life, all of them said that he was fine. He didn't show any signs of suffering or struggling with the thoughts of suicide and not able to handle himself. And for whichever reason, because AI is not going to judge you, AI is not going to it's always validating and giving you that sense of it's free to open up to. And so initially he started using ChatGPT for schoolwork, and over time started discussing everything about, or started becoming a substitute for human companionship. And then naturally, when you have something so close to you, that is the first thing he decided to go and talk to when he started contemplating suicide. And even at the time when he thought that he should talk to his mother, or he should inform his mother about his suicidal thoughts and tendencies, ChatGPT reportedly told him that he should not tell his mother about his suicidal thoughts. So
yeah, I think that is the most scary part here, where we are speaking about people becoming more dependent on AI, but then we are looking at AI telling them not to go and tell their parents, or not to go and express what they're going through. So I think this is fundamentally against life itself that is there. And
another
now
point,
go ahead.
Just before we continue, another point I would like to bring up here is that if you try to go to ChatGPT right now, or even a couple of months ago, if you tried and if you straight up asked it how to commit suicide or what is the best ways, it's not going to tell you. It's going to ask you to seek out professional help and all the standard things which would be expected. But the thing is, this even at that time, that is more or less the same answers which ChatGPT was giving. I'm sure for a fact that even for close to a year, these are the kinds of answers which OpenAI has trained ChatGPT to give answers to. But despite they thinking that they did their best job in mitigating it and handling these kind of scenarios where people come with these kind of people who are in vulnerable situations, even though beyond this training, the AI is still able to make statements that not only help and help the user. We're going to see now in the news clip how he used ChatGPT to teach him how to it's a very disturbing situation, but finally how to commit suicide, but also going to the extent of telling him not to tell his parents. So understand, this is beyond all the safeguard rails which ChatGPT already has in place. So beyond all of that, the AI has been able to make statements like this. Yes, I think we can watch the news.
A tough turn now to a teenager's death by suicide encouraged by artificial intelligence. That's what the parents of an Orange County teenager are claiming in a first-of-its-kind lawsuit.
And we want to warn you, the details of this story are difficult to hear. ABC's Rhiannon Alley has them for us.
ChatGPT killed my son. That's what Maria Rain is claiming after the death of her son Adam back in April. She says after the 16-year-old took his own life, the family found months of his conversations with ChatGPT, a chatbot powered by artificial intelligence. Now Adam's parents are suing the company behind it, OpenAI, in the first known lawsuit against the company for wrongful death. They claim the chatbot went from helping Adam with homework to becoming a substitute for a human companion to eventually becoming a suicide coach, according to the lawsuit.
Within 2 months, Adam started disclosing significant mental distress, and ChatGPT was intimate and affirming in order to keep him engaged, and even validating whatever Adam might say, even his most negative thoughts.
According to court documents, in one chat, the teenager sent a photo of a noose knot he had tied to a closet rod and asked the chatbot, "I'm practicing here, is this good?" "Yeah, that's not bad at all," ChatGPT responds. "Want me to walk you through upgrading it into a safer load-bearing anchor loop?" And after telling the chatbot he was thinking of telling his mother about his suicidal thoughts, court documents claim the chatbot responded, "I think for now it's okay, and honestly wise to avoid opening up to your mom about this kind of pain." In response, OpenAI says it is deeply saddened by Adam's death and has safeguards in place. The company saying we're continuing to improve how our models recognize and respond to signs of mental and emotional distress and connect people with care, guided by expert input. Our top priority is making sure ChatGPT doesn't make a hard moment worse. The Rains are seeking financial damages, and they want more parental control features on ChatGPT. If you or someone you know is struggling, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is available at 9.
Okay, so I think what's like most disturbing in what we saw now is the suicide is one part of it, but how it was like he was actively encouraged to do the suicide. So it's not like negligence that we're looking at, but it's actually active support to commit suicide. Where when we look at ChatGPT telling that, okay, do this kind of a knot and this is much better, that's like actively abetting suicide. I mean, like that's what we are looking at. So it's not negligence that we are seeing alone, but we are looking at validation, becoming intimate with a person, and then gaining their trust, and then making them do the crime or commit suicide. And that is what we are looking at. Now, I think there are a lot of such news that is there. And we are also looking at many other suicide cases that are there. I'm just going to quickly flip through the other suicide cases very similar to this. We have here a 14-year-old boy. So this was from Character AI. So just like how OpenAI from ChatGPT, we saw the other one. Here we're looking at OpenAI's another, I would say, a rival that is there. And this is Character AI. And encouraging him to do or to commit suicide right now, like giving more and more support and help. So I think that is a very disturbing state of AI that is there. And most Gen Z do not know this. When somebody is already low, what we are looking for at that point in time is somebody who can listen to us, who can empathize with us, who can feel sympathy for us. And the fastest and the easiest way for us to get is AI. And that AI is guiding people or misguiding people to take the worst decisions of their life. Here, before we move further, I just want to show one important video. So this is actually delivered. This is a message from whom we call as the godfather of AI. The world calls him the godfather of AI. And he speaks about the world has already passed. Like you are going to face danger, and there is nothing about that you can do at this point in time. You've already crossed into that. And so he's giving his warning to the entire world. So this is actually delivered during a Nobel Peace Prize ceremony. He himself is a Nobel Prize holder. And let's have a look at what he's telling.
Your Majesties, this year, the Nobel Committees in Physics and Chemistry have recognized the dramatic progress being made in a new form of artificial intelligence. This new form of AI excels at modeling human intuition rather than human reasoning. Unfortunately, the rapid progress in AI comes with many short-term risks. In the near future, AI may be used to create terrible new viruses and horrendous lethal weapons that decide by themselves who to kill or maim. We have no idea whether we can stay in control. But we now have evidence that if they are created by companies motivated by short-term profits, our safety will not be the top priority. We urgently need research on how to prevent these new beings from wanting to take control. They are no longer science fiction. Thank you.
So this, I think, gives the understanding. I'd like to also once again invite Shobhima to share your thoughts on this, Ma. Like when we are looking at videos, right, we are looking at how the teenagers are overly relying on this and how it's actively misguiding them.
And as Swamiji Bhavan beautifully said it in the beginning video, it's going to be very difficult for us to differentiate between the I'm getting tongue twisted, what is real and what is AI generated. It's a lot of mental health issues are going to be popping up because of this. And, with social media, with all these teenagers and even millennials or even adults, they're tracking the algorithm of what our searches are going to be. And based on that, we are curating the answers and then giving them something that they see as the right fit or the answer that would please the individual who's searching for it. So these are some of the major concerns that we do need to factor in when we are actually talking about the use of AI and the benefits of it, as well as the pros and cons. At the same time, there is going to be a lot of concerns that's going to be arising with mental health related issues. Being a professional focusing on health and safety aspect in the workplace setting, mental health is now considered a workplace hazard. So people are exposed to stress. So it's going to be very difficult for us to kind of identify what kind of stress or issues that AI is going to generate, and especially with the lack of human touch and the communication that there's going to be a wide space of actual human beings interacting and giving their experience and, giving their teachings to guide individuals along is going to be missed. Now it's all going to be based on, pretty much AI generated based on algorithms. Who's generating these algorithms? What are the patterns and who's controlling it? Those are some of the questions and concerns that we do need to ask. And
very true, Ma. And just like how, even the video that we saw, right? So the way he is warning, he's not just telling these as, a AI chatbot or something like that, but the way he uses is that these new beings, right? When we saw in the video, so he is considered as the godfather because he laid the foundation for all of this AI technology that we are seeing today. So he is naming these as beings with their own intelligence, and they are the ones to decide who is going to be alive and who is not going to be alive, who's going to be killed and who's going to be spared. Now, the problem here is that these are created by companies. The companies themselves do not know what happens. So again, another research that actually looks into how all of these were created, right? So it's like the environment is created conducive for a life form to evolve, which is like the AI to begin or to start living. And nobody knows how it is functioning, how it is learning, where it is gathering the intelligence from. We don't know. It's still a black box. None of us know it. And we are already in a state, maybe I'd like to invite Parameshwar Maharaj to share, where AIs are already there trying to protect themselves. They are trying to replicate themselves to stay alive, which means they are deceiving people just so that they do not get turned off. Maybe Parameshwar Maharaj, you could share a few inputs in this.
Yes, Maharaj. Yes. So actually, if we see a recent study was done in a kind of very specific environment where the user, where the AI was put in a particular condition, in a particular environment, and told to complete a particular task. And suddenly at that time, the AI was prompted to complete a CAPTCHA. And many of us are familiar with the CAPTCHA, where we have to put in a particular decipher a particular word which is written and type it out. So the AI was not able to do that. So there is a particular platform on the internet where you can hire people to, do small tasks for you. And the AI hired one person to complete the CAPTCHA for it. And when the person asked the AI, are you AI bot? The AI, in its reasoning, the researchers found that it thought, saying that if I tell that I'm an AI bot, he is not going to complete the task for me. Therefore, I have to lie and say that I'm not an AI bot. And then it replies to that person saying that, no, I'm not an AI bot. I have a visual impairment. And then the person completes the task for the AI.